Mitrom and Bandhu, welcome to South Asia Maps, Intellectual Kshatriya channel, where your presenter Dr. J. Reddy will bring you South Asia-centric information to you in the form of maps, icons, images. The emphasis will be bringing very abstract concepts into iconographic form so that they will be etched in your mind very easily. And today's fascinating topic of discussion is, will about human ecology, human population. Part 69. Population is a very, very important thing. Lot of time people we notice discussing most about the current politics, but it is the demography, it is the population overlaid with ecology that shapes our lives. So knowing the population of a country, territory, continent plays a very, very important role for understanding the human ecology or human predicament we face planet Earth. The present topic, you see the icon, this is the family planning icon, parents and children. Will the family planning help the mankind? That is the question. If it helps, how far it will help in our facing the human dilemma, human impasse, human predicament. Immense amount of population on the planet Earth with the depleted resources we are living today. That is in the bottleneck century, human impasse. Will the family planning help? There is a human redundancy, redundant human population on the planet Earth. There is a population explosion on the planet Earth or population bomb on the planet Earth. How many children we should be having? Before we delve into that, you please make a mental picture. You choose your answer. A newly married couple, how many children they can have? In my perspective, 4 will be too big. 3, when I was growing up, 3 was a very big number. 2, 1, and so on. Just pick and choose one number, and finally we will tally your answer, and I will give my say on that. 8,000 million people live on the planet. Million has 6 zeros. If it billion has 9 zeros. 8 billion people. I put is 8. 0 on the top of each other is 8 billion. 8 billion people. 8,000 million people. In Indian terms is 800 crore. Human population live on the planet Earth. Will the family planning help? That is the question we are discussing now. This is my Twitter site, India Maps number 2. You can see me posting there. You can interact with me there. And this is my main YouTube channel where I post all my presentations, South Asia Maps J. Reddy. And currently I have more than 280 immaculately made presentations on varied diverse topics related to general interest and human ecology and Indology related topics I posted. I organized all these topics for your convenience into 30 or so playlists. The current presentation I will put in human population and human ecology hand in hand. There are other presentations in the playlist like British Raj in India, and United Provinces, Uttar Pradesh, natural boundaries of various some regions, Kalinga, Orissa, Assam, Northeast, Karnataka, United Provinces, Uttar Pradesh, the Gujarat, our alienated brother Pakistan, and Bengal region, Rayalaseema, that is the ceded districts of Deccan, world geography, geographical areas made easy, I call it game, the rivers and mountains of Bharat, partition of India, Tamil Nadu, the treaties, the Vijayanagara Empire, the railways history, the battles, Punjab region, Congress party, and central provinces and Nizams of Hyderabad. So whatever be your interest, it will be present. Some presentations will definitely of interest to you. If you are preparing for Public Service Commission exams, these topics will be immense help to you. They will give you the depth of knowledge which you can leverage in the interviewing process with the committee, where you can show that you have the deeper understanding of the issues. Each presentation just gives you very broad, deeper understanding. You can go and see certain samples and hope that will be very helpful to you. And in the human ecology part, in the 452, I talked about in the planet Earth, India contributes around about 10 million per year. China contributes 5 million. Nigeria, African country, 5 million. Pakistan, almost 5 million. United States, 2 million. Bangladesh, 1.6 million. That is 16 million per decade. And we discussed about the population elephant on the planet Earth, 8 billion people. That is the global contribution to human population by major countries on the planet Earth. In the current series, in 58, I have taken certain important provinces, mostly South Indian provinces, and Andhra Pradesh contribute 0.8 million, United Province. I added because this is a very creep province in India. Without talking about UP population contributions, the rest of the contributions will be of little importance. That's why even though I added mostly South Indian states where I come from, but I added this because I don't want you audience miss the important point. UP 3.3, Tamil Nadu 1 million, Karnataka 0.8 million, Kerala very less 0.15 million, Maharashtra 1.5 million. I will stop there for these populations of provinces because we will be posting in other important topics. And current topic is generic 64, family planning related topics, human ecology, population we are talking about. So keep in mind what should be the size of a family in modern times, how many children they can have, 3, 2, etc. Keep in mind. Let's go and look into the issue little more detail. So this is the place where I get the you should first having how many people currently we have. There are 8 humans here. You can see the 8. Remember, 8 billion people live on the planet Earth. Very easy to remember. Earth is a sphere, this is a 0, and put one more sphere below it, that becomes 8. 8 billion people live as of 2023 or so on the planet Earth. That is the ecological overshoot, population overshoot. So I put 4 billion here, 4 billion here, 8 billion. That makes sense. Every year, see, we are taking the data from the standard source 2020. 139 million people are added. Million means 6 digits or 6 zeros, 139. That is the birth, total births every year. How many people die for every year? 60 million, 60. Very easy to remember. England has a population of around about 60. England, United Kingdom is different. England is one of the 4 countries. England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, that is Ulster, Belfast, and Cymru, Wales. This doesn't have many people. England has a 60 million. That you can remember here in the deaths per year. 139 is the population of Russia. We made it 140. You make it 140, you make it 60. Take away 60 from 140, 80 million. Again, easy to remember. Let's say in olden days in India, people used to live in 60 years. That is, they pass away after 60 years. So that is 60 million, you make it. And Russian population 140 million, 80 million net population Earth. Again, easy to remember. We have 8 billion people, 80 million people are added per day to the Earth. So why we are talking about that? That's very critical. Let's go into detail. 2025 global population is 8,000 million. That is 800 crores, 8 billion. Let's assume tomorrow onwards, all the governments, everybody in the planet Earth decides they will not produce the children for 30 years. Let's say why 30 means humans, females have a conceiving period around about 40 years or so. We make it 30 years. So the later, whoever in the reproductive age, they can conceive. So that the human population can continue. It's not arbitrary. Just pretend like that. Everybody decides unanimously, the governments, everybody, for next 30 years we are not going to have any children. That means there is no net increase in the population, there is only the deaths. 2025 we start 8,000 survivors. 10 years later, remember every year there is a 60 million people pass away. Here 60. Remember the 659 we made it 60. 35, 10 years, 600 million people pass away. There will be net population of 7.4 billion. In 2045, there will be 1,200 million pass away. They will die. There will be 6,800 million people. 2055, 1,800 million people will pass away. Still on the planet Earth, there will be 6,200 people. That's what we decided 30 years. Let's be little more lenient. Let's practice that 40 years. That will be little hard. Generally after 40, females will not conceive any children. That means if nobody conceives children in 40, means human race will not continue. But let's theoretically take it. 2,400 million will pass away. Still planet will have 5.6 million. Let's say we finally decided we go for 50 years. 50 years means every year 60 million people. 50 years 3,000 million people will pass away. Still 5,000 million people will be there in the planet. Generally 2050 is a critical year. Why 2050 is a critical year? Today all our food comes from industrial agriculture, that is pesticides, herbicides and urea fertilizers, machines ploughing, harvesting, combiners, transporting the food. Without industrial agriculture there will be no food. Urea fertilizers, phosphate. Urea comes from the natural gas that will be totally depleted by 2050. Phosphate rock, other important fertilizers will be in very less amount by that time, 2050. Without phosphate, without urea, food production will drastically reduce on the planet Earth. For practical purpose, planet Earth cannot support many people after 2050. That is, you can increase the date little bit, 5 or 10 years, this side, that does not matter. That's why 2055 is very critical. Even I consider 2050 itself is critical. Planet Earth cannot support more than 1 or 2 billion people at a modest level, means just barely living, producing the food, eating. That is the medieval lifestyles. But what is the population? If you follow this rule, if you do not add any person, if you practice zero population growth, still by the middle of this century there will be 6.2 billion people on the planet Earth. So already these people are here. You cannot send them away very fast. It takes time. So that is, if you assume there will be no children, none of the families will be producing any child for next 30 years. Remember how many children a couple should have. In the beginning, we decided to take one answer, 3, 2, something like that. My answer is 0. Even if you accept that premise, still there will be redundant excess population on the planet Earth. That is the elephant in the planet Earth, the population elephant. Does that mean if you follow family planning, that doesn't help? That alleviates the problem, alleviates little bit, but will not solve the problem. So then who will solve the problem? The nature will solve the problem in a manner that will be very painful for the human beings, because the planet Earth has a redundant human population today. Even if you do not have any children for the next 50 years, from 2025 to 2075, still 3 billion people will be living on the planet Earth. There will be no natural gas, there will be very little oil to do industrial agriculture to produce the food. Very poor quality of coal will be there, no phosphate fertilizer, no green revolution benefits, and no urea fertilizer. So the things will be very, very complicated. This is the things you have to keep in mind, because especially if you're born in 2000 or afterwards, you will be the generation living that. Remember, the politicians will not be changing our fate. It is the ecology that changes our fate. That is what Dr. Catton talks about in his monumental book, Overshoot and Bottleneck Century, that is this century. That's very, very important. And these concepts, I have taken a lot of time. I read Dr. Catton's book. This is the Overshoot book many times, and I decided to make these presentations widely available to you, and you can look at them, various concepts. If you understand them: carrying capacity, taking over, drawing down, and ecological bloom and crash, diachronic competition, cornucopian paradigm, and hunters and gatherers, industrial hunters and gatherers, ecological ecarages, trade ecarages, fossil ecarages. Why the country that doesn't have anything like Singapore is very prosperous due to trade ecarage. It is now surviving an enlarged carrying capacity from outside its region, else the country will be very, very small population living marginally. Those concepts, phantom carrying capacity, age of exuberance, and all these things I have posted in those 50 or so presentations under ecology playlist, human ecology. You can go and look at them. Before that, I will show you one important thing. Remember, the population of England is 60 million, that is 60 million people pass away every year. Population of Russia is 140, that is net addition. I am showing you the worldometer side. Current world population is 7.9 billion. So again, remember, per every year 60 million deaths occur. Today is like end of September, 43 million. Remember, still 3 more months go, October, November, December, means by the end of December 31st, it will be almost 60. It's not critical. Little bit on that side. 60 million deaths every year. How many million people are added per year? That is, I told you, Russian population, 140 million. So first 3 months, like 9 months, 25 million each quarter means 3 quarters are done. That means almost next we have 1 more quarter to go. That means 40 more will be added. Like you can see that 130. that will become 140 roundabout. And the population net growth is 80, right? 8 billion and 80 million per year. This 60 will become something like 80. That is the population of Germany every year. 80 will be the population. That is the net growth. So you can see how many every second population is increasing. That's very, very important. You have to keep in mind. So what was our story? Our story was, does the family planning help? The population of the planet Earth is 8 billion, that is 8,000 million. Every year we are adding 80 million, and every year 60 million people are passing away. If 60 million people pass away every year, for the next 50 years, only 60 into 50, 3,000 million will pass away. Out of 8 billion, still 5 billion will be there. That itself is a humongous population planet Earth cannot support. 1818, planet Earth has 1 billion. That is before industrialization started. 1990, when industrialization picked up, 2 billion. That is the maximum population the planet Earth can support, perhaps. By 2050, there will be still 6,000 or 7,000 people, even if you do not conceive any children. None on the planet Earth will conceive any children. Still, this much population will be there by 2050, and there will be no industrial agriculture at that time. So the issue is very complicated. That is called bottleneck century, human predicament, human impasse. Hope this will help you. This is the very difficult part for me to tell, but Dr. Catton says the same thing. I completely agree, but this is the fact we have to face, especially younger generation. Live with it. We can alleviate it. We cannot completely avoid it. Mother Nature will solve it, and we have to see how it will be solved. So that is about population, family planning contribution to the human population dilemma we discussed about. This is Dr. Reddy at South Asia Maps. Mitrum and Bandhuvam, I really appreciate you take some time and put certain comments and let me know the feedback from you, and I can take your points into consideration and try to accommodate them so that these presentations will be productive for you, and the time you spend on listening to me is worth, and you get the important knowledge out of it. See you later in other time.